Okay, folks, welcome back. I think we'll get started. I think there's still a few more people to come down from upstairs, but hopefully most people are down now at this stage. My name is Dominic Byrne from Fingal County Council, and I'm on the Dublinked Oversight Executive Group. So welcome back for the afternoon session. Again, we have some great speakers lined up. Once again, perhaps if you've turned your mobiles back on, you might switch them back to silent just before the speaker starts. And again, we'd encourage you to use social media and to let people know there's a lot going on Twitter and people tweeting about the various talks and so on, which is great. So there's this session, the first session in the afternoon, there'll be two slots. So we're starting off with Ciaran and Gilesenan from Building I, and then we're going to go into a series of data stories. So there'll be quick-fire, 5-minute sessions, stories from people who have, various businesses who have done things with the data. So it should be very interesting. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ciaran. Came across Ciaran was probably one of the first people to use Dublinked data in anger, and he's a civil engineer by profession, graduate of the University of Dundee, and has over 12 years' experience in construction projects. And he's the founder and CEO of Building I, and that was how we first came across him. And I got to know Ciaran pretty well over the years in his use of the data, and I've also worked with him on the Code for Ireland project as well. So Ciaran has been very involved in both in a professional capacity and in a voluntary capacity in the open data world in Ireland. So without further ado, Ciaran, take it away.
How you doing, everyone? As Dominic mentioned, just to put some stuff into context, background in planning and building. So I've been doing that for about 12 years, taking projects from drawing on a piece of paper through to key in the door. Residential and commercial projects. So I've taken projects through from the design stage through to planning applications, getting that over the line, through to tender, and then fully construction on site. So having done that, I had a lot of dealings with city councils. So while I'm working on projects, I'd know the reference number, I'd know the address, I'd be able to search for a project. But a lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, Ciaran, my neighbour's doing some work down the road." I said, "Oh yeah, that's fine, just put in the reference number on the city website." I said, "Well, I don't know the reference number, I don't know the address." So it would take them about 7 clicks to get to the information, where I was like, well, there's got to be an easier way. If we can look at aggregating data over multiple jurisdictions, see it on a map, at least you just go to the area you're looking at and click on the button and it gives you all the information. So that's where we started from. So I'll put some things in context here. I'll just give you a bit of background about me and then a startup in the government space. And then I'll go on to something then about the San Francisco Entrepreneurship and Residence Program that happened last year. I'll touch on open data and then data standards. And then I'll go in insights that I've seen just from a startup perspective to share with other startups in the government area. And then also, having dealt with government so much in this way, just what I found from dealing with government and changes that could happen. So going to this slide was shown earlier on by Pauline, and this is where we started from. So we actually, we said MyPP, myplannerpermission.ie, our goal was, can we get all of the planning application data in Ireland and put it on a map and make it easy for anybody to find? So what we did was we started in a core area and we scraped the data from the 4 local authorities. But before doing that, we checked with our legal department to say, okay, what can we take and what can we not take? Whereas a yes, a definite no, and then the grey area. So while we were scraping, the thing that we had to be aware of, we couldn't take applicants' names. Even though we weren't going to display them on this map, if we were storing them on our servers beside an address, that was in breach of data law. So we had to be very careful about that. So you can show private companies, but you can't show applicants, a resident. So what you're seeing on this now is a reference number, the local authority, which it relates to, no applicant information, but a location, a description, and then that link below will go to the city website where the drawings are being held. So that was the start. So we scraped the information then from the 4 local authorities, and then Dublinked came out. So well, that's great, because the hardest thing in Ireland is getting location, because it's Paddy's Field down the road, so you can't just put a pin on that. But the government, local authorities, have all of that data. So all we had to do was match that up with a reference number. So when we started with Dublinked, they started giving us all of those coordinates. So that was great. And then we took it further. So we said, look, Dublinked is only concerned about a certain area, and that's the 4 local authorities. We want to grow this out. So we called every local authority in the country, said, we're looking for your data. And they go, well, it's on the website, it's in PDF. I said, no, actually, we want it in digital format, and we're going to put it on our map. And it took us a while to convince them about what open data was, but we had the reference of Fingal. They already had an open data portal. We had won the Apps for Fingal competition with this, and that gave us a reference. So slowly, they came on board. You'll see there's green ones, yay, and then there's red ones. Now, the interesting thing, there's Cork, for example. We approached Cork very early on. We said, look, can we have your data? And they go, well, we'll see what everyone else does. So, okay, 6 months later, we went back and said, you know what, everyone around you is green. Can we have your data? No. So, okay. And then there was more of that. Okay, so that's where we started. I'll take you where we are now. So, that's a larger photograph than I thought. But that's me in the middle. There's Dominic and a guy called Jonathan Reichenthal, the CIO of the city of Palo Alto over the heart of Silicon Valley. Together we set up a thing called Code for Ireland, which Mark spoke about earlier on, which is just about building out applications for local areas and combining local authorities with citizens and technology. So that's what we've been doing. What is Building I? This is what we're working on now. So we're actually building out applications for government. So we're making it easier for anybody to see what's happening in their neighbourhood on a mobile device. And we're doing this for building permits, planning applications, code enforcement, and capital projects. We're very focused on the US. Our clients would be cities like the city of San Francisco, the city of Palo Alto, who pay us to map out their data, making it easier for the public to get access to this, both on a mobile device, tablet, and on their desktop. And we update this on a daily basis for them. Here's what you can see with the city of Palo Alto, another client of ours. You click on the dot, and it shows you all of the information, just like I was showing you on the earlier one. You've got the address, reference number, a receive date, the description, who the project planner is, where it is in the actual workflow, received, and on what date, when it was decided. And then more details goes, like what we do for the earlier one, goes to the drawings of that city. Then you can also get things like email alerts, so based on a geographic area. So if I'm looking for a neighbourhood, a zip code, drop a pin on the map, anytime a new application comes in, we can send out an email alert, and we do that on the city's behalf. I say that's done either bi-weekly or weekly, and the data is coming in daily. So you're seeing a blue dot represents a new application, hasn't yet been decided upon, and the green dot is one that has been completed. What we're doing is we're sending out the email alerts based on new applications that fall within your zone. So having done all that, we were very much involved in government in the Bay Area. So something that came out quite recently, or just last year, was San Francisco's Entrepreneurship and Residence Program, headed up by Mayor Lee. And that was all about how do we get startups involved in government to try and make some change, make government more accountable, efficient, and responsive. So they had a call out for startups to get involved, and that was headed up by their Chief Innovation Officer, a guy called Jay Nath. And they didn't know what was going to happen. They're just going to, look, we'll give this a go. That was just a landing page, and anybody can just press a button and make a submission. So they got nearly 200 startups applied from 25 cities and countries around the world. They had startups from the education, healthcare, transportation, all different sectors that wanted to get involved in this. And then who applied? Startups, software, hardware, they even had NASA engineers. And out of that, they picked 6. And we were one of those 6. And what that meant was that we got involved very deeply within a government department. So we got in there for 16 weeks, in depth with that department. They basically opened their books. And the whole thing about it was, what can Building I learn from this? And what can the department learn from Building I? So we got to understand all of their processes. And then they said, here's where our problems are. Now, as a startup outside government, that's very hard, because you're thinking, I think I know where the problems are. But when you get in depth and they say, look, here's how it works and here's how it doesn't work, what can you do? So with those 16 weeks, we broke it into thirds. So first of all, it was just understanding all of the data. We were dealing with a department called SFMTA, and they're the capital projects department. So they're spending $3.5 billion over the next 5 to 10 years. And they have projects everywhere. And what we found was that the mapping information over here, a new system over here, and something else over here, and then they had some reporting to do over here. And it was a lot of emails over and back, where what we did was then within that project, at the very end, we said, well, we'll map the data, we'll link it to the other systems, and if you want to do a report, you can just select an area, press report, and then we're able to do that. So within the 16 weeks, we did a presentation at the very end in the Mayor's office, and that was myself and Ciaran from the capital projects. We spoke about this and what the successes were. So it was really interesting for us getting in depth and understanding, more importantly, how do you scale that to other cities that are looking to do something similar. I'm going to touch on something now, open data. So while we were dealing with Dublinked and all of that stuff, we weren't seeing many open data sites. And you'll see on the previous map of Ireland, there was red dots in a few places, and one actually was Sligo. So a friend of mine said, hey, Ciaran, Sligo just put up an open data portal. I said, well, that's fantastic. We might be able to get the planning data just put up in the open data portal for everybody to access. So I went on the open data portal, and I found this. So it was like, okay, here's what it says. So I just copied it so you could read it. This data is strictly the copyright of Sligo County Council. It should not be passed onto third parties, either directly or as part of an application. Right? Not good. It should not be sold in whole or in part, nor should it form part of any application or development being sold. Anyone who wishes to incorporate this data into an added value application, like what we were doing, first contact Sligo County Council to request permission and negotiate terms. We're talking now in the background here, you can't see it, but it says open data. The content of this data is provisional. Okay. And Sligo will accept no liability. Fine. So anyway, I opened this up and brought over one of our data scientists and said, hey, let's have a go with this. Right, let's see what they've got. This is what we saw. Burial grounds, engineering areas for Sligo, fire stations. Okay, we'll have a go at the fire stations. Boom. Okay, so had our data guy come over and have a look at this. Okay, you want to run it through the system? And he goes, hold on, let me have a look at it. Yeah, all the phone numbers are the same. Okay, so our point here is they put restrictions on the data. They put up token data sets. That portal went up in 2013. It was last updated in 2013. And for us, this is an example of what not to do. So let me take you to another portal. This is a city that we're dealing with, City of Palo Alto. Here's their open data portal. On the top right-hand side, you can suggest a data set. So it's like, how do we engage? What are you looking for? And then you can go on further and see all the different things that they have. And when you click on it, it brings up this page, similar to Sligo, but different, in that the data is freely accessible to anybody and can be viewed online and downloaded in a variety of formats. Our open data portal also provides a way for third-party software applications to easily access and use our government data. That's open data. So we use that data, particularly to start things off. But we found that while open data sets are there, and that's really important, if you're providing a service to government, we're not using open data portals. We're actually contracted with cities themselves. Because what we've seen is that portal takes management. And we saw it with Dublinked. You report something that's a problem, it could take 2 weeks, 6 weeks, could take a year to fix. So by going direct to source, that's how we can provide the service that we provide to citizens. I'll go on to something else now, which is data standards. So when we started looking at this planning information, we were like, okay, remember legals, what can we show and what can we not show? Exclude applicants' names. So we create this data set, and that allowed us to share that with other councils, to make it easier for them to onboard. And then when we did that, we shared that with local authorities in Ireland. And actually, Barry spoke earlier on from Roscommon. We shared it with Barry halfway through the process, and he goes, well, you know what? I can do one better. And he started adding more data to it. which we then passed on to more councils, and the data just got better and better. But it wasn't about getting the perfect data standard, getting right at the start. Number one, it had to comply with data protection laws, but number two, it was there just to get the information out and then see where we go from there. So having done that here, we learned a lot, and then we looked at key stuff like building permit data in the US. So we started aggregating data from multiple cities, and we built our own standard. And then from only a few months ago, this builds data specification or data standard has come out. And it's not been run by government, it's been run by private organizations to try and structure a key data set that addresses everything that a new user to the data would have. But then if the city is looking at create open data, they can go to the standard and say, look, if I push it out, this application will be able to consume it and represent it in the same way as another city does. So that's us there, Building I. So we're involved in that, and this is Mark Head. Mark Head used to be CIO of the City of Philadelphia, and he's a big ups to Building I for jump-starting the conversation on building permit standards over a year ago. Excited now we're catching up. So this is great. There's that community that are actually building out standards now in the US because they're using the data, but not waiting for cities to do it. It's like, okay, let's create our own data standard. On this, I just want to go into just some insights. Things that, we've been doing this now for 3 years, and we've been dealing with governments. So having done that, I think if you're looking to get involved with government, or you're looking to get a contract with government, got to find that open city to work with. Now, it's fine having an open data portal. That's a good indication. But if you've got stagnant data sets and it's only a token portal, that's probably not the key city that you're looking for. Look at Fingal's. It's updated daily. So is City of Palo Alto. So is San Francisco. So they're cities that we looked at. And then find your champion in that city. So we found, when we started off here, we found Dominic. That led us to talking to other county councils. Again, the likes of Jane Att over in San Francisco, very influential, who then could talk to other cities and make introductions for you. Then look at your city size. So what we did is we picked, say, City of Palo Alto, City of San Francisco, 66,000, 880,000. So if you're taking a city and you're representing their data, a smaller city may look at a large city and say, well, we can't really do that. But if you can go, well, here's a small city too, you're a comparable city. You could do that too. So that did help a lot. And then understand a user's pain. Like, I would sit in the queue at the public counter and just see what people were queuing for. I went through to get an application form, which took me 3 hours, just to understand the whole process from start to finish. And then once you understand that, then you've got a real sense of what the pain is for the public, and then how you can improve that through your own application. And then be prepared for the long haul. This is not quick, okay, go in, let's do a contract. This is a long sales cycle. You'll be doing a lot of demos. And then understand the key thing. Does the city have a budget? So before you build something out and go, hey, would you like to buy this? They go, oh, yeah, sure. Maybe next May, when our budget comes around again, we can look at that. So you really need to understand those budget cycles and that you're getting into the cities at the right time. And then with cities, they've got discretionary budget that they can spend, understand thresholds, what you can get into, what you can't. That was really good about the EIR program. We had a full understanding about procurement. And that's not easy to find out. But we had somebody within government say, here's what the rules are. Now, the thing, build a demo. This goes directly against any lean methodology out there that any lean startup should do. But when you're dealing with government, they like touchy-feely stuff. So we found we had to build an application that worked. For insights for government, what we found, even just coming back to here, specifically talking today about Irish data, look at new roles created within innovative cities, like large cities. Like you've got the Chief Innovation Officer in the City of San Francisco. They've got a Chief Data Officer. In LA, they've got an Entrepreneur in Residence. And that's, like, these are key roles that are being set up. Now, I know we're talking about some small counties, and this isn't achievable. But if you know what's happening out there, that's key. And then if you're going to open the data, then commit to supporting it. It's not just leave a data set there. We've ticked a box. You haven't really. You want to make sure that somebody is there to support that. If there's any questions, if the data needs to be updated, then it is updated. And then be open to government startups. I mean, what we did within the EIR program in 16 weeks, they couldn't get over because we just went at it hard, said, understand the problem, how do we fix it, and then build out a form of a demo. So it was quick. They learned an awful lot from us as an external company getting involved in government, and we learned just as much from them, understanding how the whole government process worked. Just the last thing, governments are not app developers. That's just, we come across stuff in the city, say, well, actually, we're going to build that ourselves. And there's a city that we were dealing with, looked at that, analysed it, did the costings on it, said, it does not make sense for us to spend 8 months doing this as a one-off. Then we have to maintain it. We'll have to change it for every different application that's coming out. So why not look at Building Eye? If it's already there, it's ready to go, and they're scaling up to other cities. So, yeah, we're live now in cities like over in the west of the US, so in Palo Alto, San Francisco. We just went live with another city in the Bay Area there yesterday. So, and we've got more coming on. So we've cities live up in Corvallis and Montana going live. So that's an overview. That's what I've learned from my involvement within government over the last few years. And again, it's just to give an insight as to what we've experienced. So I hope that helps in some way. Okay, thanks.